It's time for bookkeeping, beer, and BS. Not every show is for everybody, right?
Mhm.
And you got to pick and choose.
Yep.
So, and I'm curious if you guys have like been to shows where you're like, it's for this person, it's for that person. So I want you guys to weigh in on that. Because like I said, you just can't get to them all. Like, what should people prioritize when they're thinking about which conventions to go to and all that stuff? The second part 2 of the question is, how do people get the most out of it? Because you're there, you're drinking from a fire hose. Relationships are valuable, yes, but like you got a lot of really talented, sharp people speaking to you that are trying to teach you things that they've learned and give you some experiences. And not like a lot of people are just like industry experts, right? There's a bunch of people that are not professional speakers but they still have a ton of value to add, maybe myself included. I don't know why they gave me a radio show and had me do this all the time, but
you had to put a suit on stage.
Yeah.
It's too big for you.
Somebody let me loose. Hey, I can't help that I lost a few pounds, but I don't want to. It's my fault and I take full responsibility. But so first part of that question, what should people prioritize when they're looking at all these events coming up here? What's the priority? How do we decide what the hell to go to?
Yeah. I mean, so I will say that when COVID happened, it kind of 2020 or 2019 was supposed to be like, I think we all saw that the amount of conventions like doubled or tripled overnight. It seemed like kind of how the spring is.
It was like the brewery industry around here.
Dude, it was ridiculous. It was like, hey, everybody just throw a convention. And so like that really turned me off to a lot of it, and seeing like everybody was doing it, like you can't have that same amount of value. So I think like the stage of business that you're in kind of dictates some of what you're going to go to. Like Dan and I are both in BBB. Like that's something that I prioritize. It's a higher level. It's a much smaller group to have more deeper conversations. As far as getting a lot of stuff out of it, I always like to, you take all your notes and then just go ahead and just create a calendar event, like a week, 2 week, 3 weeks from now, like just random reminders for those different things that you're like, man, I should do that. Because if you come back with like 15 things that you're like, man, I got to do that, you're going to do none of it. And at least if you go ahead and get a reminder. And then the other thing I always love to do is I love to just put on the voice recorder. And then later on, I'm doing workouts in the morning or taking my dog for a walk. I can listen to that and listen to it over and over again, because the nuggets that you get the first time are not the same nuggets you're going to get the third, fourth, fifth time you listen to it. And so just good reminders to have that, to just reinforce what you listen to.
Yep. Frank, what do you, as far as prioritizing, how do you you're kind of prioritizing it from 2 different ways. One is like you're still learning too, but also like you got to figure out, you're going to speak at different things. How the hell do you prioritize it?
Well, like trade shows are kind of like this. I look at trade shows the same way I look at business. It's people, process, tools, right? So you go there to meet people or to meet speakers or experts that can help your business move it forward, right? Make connections. So, and then process is like, does that show, is it geared in a way where it makes you experience it in a way where you enjoy it, right? So it's like, hey, is it for you? Like if you've been there before and you're like, man, it's exactly what I'm looking for. Like there's just enough of a good mix of like happy hour and content, and then the whole tool part of it is like, hey, are you gaining something out of it? Like, are you seeing what's new and exciting in technologies and all this stuff you can use for your business, whether it's actually a physical tool or just like something that you can bring into your business and use. So to me, really, the way I pick my shows is, where can I go and get what I need to bring my business to the next level? And sometimes it's just because, and I probably you guys felt the same way at some point, where you just want to connect with people who can help you save time. Like I wish I could just speak to someone who's been in those exact shoes and say, hey, that's easy. Just get this piece of technology, implement it, instead of just going round and round. So to me, most often for me, just because I'm a people person, it's a lot of my decisions are based on people. Who can I meet there? Who's going to be there? and who's going to bring the most value. Just some people you can do every year. You almost go just for them. Like it's almost like those people bring you so much value when you're there. You just love to connect with those people, and you always kind of find those favorite shows that way. And I find the shows that are better marketed are the ones that gain the most, because people know what you offer in those shows. So there's great shows that are badly marketed. Nobody knows. They don't see any value in it because people don't talk about those shows. So my job in the next 2 months for my own event is to like talk about it in as many ways as I can. Talk about.
Let's get on. Let's do some bookkeeping beer and BS. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Talk about those sessions, right? What are they gonna get out of it? When people start hearing like, oh man, that's gonna solve one problem. That's gonna help me figure out why this happens. This is gonna help me understand why some people are building teams and some people are not building teams. This is gonna help me understand why my paperwork takes me so long. Like from every aspect of the business, and so sometimes the better marketed events are the ones that long term grow. So
I'd say too, for just regional events are always good if you're trying to get your team involved too.
True.
Like it's expensive to try and take your whole team to the huge, or to take them all to Responsicon, but some of the local vendor ones, I mean, that was really, it's eye-opening to take some of your people to that so they can also understand Rob's just not drinking with Dan on vacation for 4 days next week. No, Rob's also like learning and getting these good, tips. Like one of the people said they use Jill's office to call all their Christmas light renewal clients. And I was like, boom. All right, I can leave now. Like that was enough value. But getting them in so they can see that. We took one guy to BBB, one guy to Huge, and one guy to Transworld, or to Clipicon last year. And so they all kind of got to see that and get that additional value by being in that environment, and also kind of starting to understand that, like, no, really, Dan actually does know what he's talking about. It's not Rob always say, well, Dan said. Like they can actually finally meet Dan and realize, yeah, Dan said Busch Light's really good beer. So.
He does drink a lot of Busch Lights. Holy shit, Rob, you were lying. Hey, what's up, business nerd? Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned a heck of a lot watching that episode. Do me a favor, subscribe right down here. And if you really like what you saw, you got more goods right here. Check out this one, or check out this one, and do this. Go subscribe. Appreciate you. Work smarter, work harder, go earn yourself some pride. Catch you on the next one.